Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fatherless Sons. My name is Wiley, and I am your host. And this is episode 110. On today's episode, we have something great for you guys today because I am going to recap the first 9 videos that had content in them that I want to revisit or just actually go over just so that we can kind of summarize what we have gone over up to this point. So I'll do that under the Building Your Empire segment. Under the Couch Time segment, I will be talking a little bit about no shortcuts. There's no cutting corners. So hang around towards the end of this video so that we can unveil who's the fatherless and famous for episode 110. Okay, so let's jump right into building your empire. And for all of the episodes that we have done up to this point, I kind of covered some key things that I think everyone needs to have a foundation of when it comes to building true wealth and building your empire. So a lot of the information that we've gone over, if you can revisit those episodes and that are posted on the site, you can kind of refresh your memory. If you haven't had a chance to see all of those videos, I would encourage you to look at all of them because everything that we do moving forward will use all of this that we've gone over up to this point as the foundation. If you have a weak foundation, then whatever you build is going to be shaky and it's going to be very difficult for you to follow and to apply if you do not have the foundation built. So let's go over those 9 topics right now. The first one in episode 102, I went over the purpose of money. This is really important to calibrate your mindset so that you can see money a little bit differently. Instead of seeing money as something that is fleeting and hard to obtain, I want you to start seeing it as a tool to make more money. So it's really important to understand that, before you even go forward. In episode 103, we went over discussing money with your family. This is important because this is a way to break the cycle. Break the cycle with your kids by teaching them better than how you were taught. Because remember, learning about financial literacy is not really, the top priority in schools. They're not there to teach you how to be a leader. They're pretty much there in class to teach you how to be a great employee, how to be a clog inside of a machine. So what we go over on this channel is how to break that cycle and how to understand how to use money and how to talk about money with our kids, how to open up our books with our kids, our finances with them so that they can learn from what we're doing. Because if you don't teach your kids how to manage money, then who's going to teach them? Whose responsibility is it? So don't assume that they already know, that they'll figure it out. You have to take this up on your own. This is your responsibility as a parent and as just a family member. In episode 104, we went over budgeting. And as much as people probably shy away from the topic of understanding how to properly budget their paychecks and their household income with whoever they're with, if they're with their spouse or even with a family member, you have to account for all the money that's coming into your household. Otherwise, how can you really make money work for you if you don't even have control of your own finances? In episode 105, we talked a little bit about retirement and 401k. And the reason this was so important to go over early now is because you want to take advantage of making the most out of your 401k now instead of waiting, 6 months, a year before you even visit how you're contributing to your 401k and if you understand how it works and how you can maximize its growth. Because the longer you let it underperform, the more time you waste. So you want to jump on to your 401k allocations now. You want to understand how to rebalance your 401k for growth now. You want to do that now. You don't want to waste time because the default in a 401k might be for you, it may be at your job, something very slow growing and safe. But that's not really going to help you if you're in your 20s and early 30s. You want to be aggressive. You want to take more risk because you have time for the market to rebound if it takes a dip. So, and as you get older, you don't have that time. So revisit episode 105 just to hear what I had to say about retirement and 401ks. And we touched a little bit on Roth IRAs as well. In episode 106, we talked about goal setting. Goal setting is a great foundational tool that you need to have in your toolbox, because if you're unable to set specific goals using the SMART goal model that we went over in our episode 106, then it's going to be really hard for you to achieve goals and to stay focused and stay driven. So visit episode 106 if you need to revisit how to properly set SMART goals and what a SMART goal is. All right. So episode 107, we talked about selecting a mentor, and having a mentor, I think, is really important. I had a mentor, coming up in the professional business world and in like my personal finances as well. Even though I was kind of self-taught when it came to finances, early on, my mentor would teach me some things about finance and more things about just how to be a responsible adult. But I really kind of went on steroids when it came to understanding finances to the level I understand it now. So selecting a great mentor can be a great tool, and it can really help steer you on the right path and keep you on the right path, and kind of, guide you and tell you how to do things, and give you real life examples of what they have done, and even kick you in the butt if you're kind of, falling off course. They can get in your face and they know who you are and how to speak with you to motivate you. So having a good mentor is really important. And I invited everyone, all of my viewers, to see me as a virtual mentor, someone that's going to tell you like it is and kind of keep it real and give you guidance, the kind of guidance that I did not have when I was coming up. So always stay tuned into these series, in these episodes, and you will be able to use the information in these videos to find all of the success that you're looking for. In episode 108, we talked about defining wealth. This is just a way that I like to look at wealth. Once you cross that threshold of having enough passive income to pay all of your expenses on a monthly basis, then I consider you to be wealthy. But if you do not have passive income to take care of your monthly expenses and you're relying on your 9 to 5, then you're simply rich if you can, use that 9 to 5 to provide all of the things that you want. So the moment you lose that 9 to 5, then you're struggling, and that's not wealth. Rich is temporary, wealth is permanent. So revisit episode 108 if you want to hear more about how I define wealth. And last but not least, our last episode was 109, possessions. And I went over my possessions evaluation tool. I think it's a really great tool that I created myself that will help you understand. And I'll put an image of it on the screen right now. Understanding how to use the PET, the possession evaluation tool, will help you identify the possessions in your life that you should be putting attention to and care and investing in, and the possessions that you should distance yourself from that are not as valuable as you probably thought they were. A lot of people might be sentimentally attached to certain possessions and think that they have more value than they really do. So the PET kind of makes it real clear for you to not be emotional about a possession and see its true value and see if it's really helping you or if it's really hurting you. So use the PET. Episode 109 is a little extended so that I could have enough time to really explain how to use the PET, but it's a way to take the emotions that you may feel about a particular possession, like for example, your personal home. So it's a way to take the emotions out of how you evaluate your personal home, and even may steer up some ideals on how to maximize your personal home to generate passive income even. So that's all covered in episode 109. So that is a quick summary of the 9 episodes that I tried to put some golden nuggets in the Building Your Empire segment so that you can use all of that information so that, you can really just build a strong foundation. And if you, seriously understood and applied the information in the first 9 episodes, then moving forward should be a whole lot easier, because it just gets harder and tougher as we go on in all of these episodes that I'll be rolling out. So now we'll go ahead and move to our next segment, which is couch time. And during this segment, I like to sit everyone on the couch and kind of give it to you straight, give some guidance, give some coaching. I used to be a life coach, so sometimes I like to revisit some of the conversations that I had with some of my clients that I would coach in the past. Now, today's episode under Couch Time, I want to kind of highlight, since I had a great opportunity to recap all of the things that we've covered up to this point, I want to highlight the purpose of the channel and what you can expect from me as your host. And the reason I want to, talk about this is because I recently saw something online where there was a guy talking about some financial advice about banking. And I'm a banker by profession. I'm a private banker. So when I'm listening to this individual online, I won't mention his name, but yeah, he was really hyperbolic about some of the things that he was saying. And I'm not saying that what he was saying was untrue. Technically, what he was saying was true, but it was just misleading and it was a waste of time. But it sounded great if you're someone who's struggling and you're kind of looking for a shortcut or looking for a fast way to get wealthy and to win the game of life when it comes to finances. So yeah, it was entertaining. I actually watched it and laughed at a couple of parts. To me, I don't know if he was trying to be entertaining, but some of it was funny to me because I'm listening to this guy and I know about banking. I know about the system. I understand how to build wealth, and to hear him kind of cater towards people who looks for an enemy. For example, he would constantly say they, and them. This is what they want us to do, and this is what they are doing to us. And this is so basically he's making a boogeyman saying them, they, instead of, really being specific. It's easy to blame the rut that you're in on someone else. It's easier to be the victim instead of saying it's me that's causing a problem, that's causing my financial challenges. And no one wants to hear that kind of truth. They would rather be entertained and they would rather be lied to. Well, on this channel, I won't lie to you. I'm not going to advertise a shortcut. There's no shortcuts to doing what we're doing here on this channel. I'm giving you a solid foundation so that you can build properly and build effectively moving forward. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to entertain you with, shortcut ideals and gimmicky ideals that really don't work. It's just, to me, a waste of energy and a waste of time. And by the time a year or 2 or 3 years pass by, if you were to listen to some of the garbage that this guy was saying and applied it, 3 years from now, you would still be in the exact same position that you're in. If you're trying to get out of a position, you'll be in the exact same spot. You would not have made any progress following this guy's advice. Now, following the advice on this channel, however, if you apply it the right way and seriously go after it and apply the information that I'm giving you, after 3, 4, 5 years, you will see that you're not in the same place, because it's really up to you. And there are no shortcuts. I'm not going to tell you I can change your financial situation in 12 months. I'm not going to say that because, first of all, I don't know your financial situation. And second of all, I don't know how you're applying the information, if you're making any true changes or not. But if you are making serious changes, depending on where you are, you can see some meaningful changes in progress in a matter of 3, possibly 4, and definitely 5 years. You will see some meaningful change in your financial situation. So that's I just wanted to retouch the purpose of the channel and what you can expect and what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to be over the top with ideals that sound great but really don't work just in order to get views, get clicks. For the people who are serious about making progress, they'll digest the information that I give on this channel. They'll apply the information. And if you guys ever have any questions, leave those questions in the comments and I'll be sure to answer those questions. I'm sure you won't be the only person with the question. So leave the question there so everyone can read it. I'll put the answer so that everyone can see the answer, because chances are they have the exact same question. Okay. So yeah, apply the information and eventually you will see progress. All right, so let's go to our next segment, which is Fatherless and Famous. And this has grown to be one of my favorite parts of the show, where we get to celebrate someone who grew up in a fatherless home. And it does not have to be a male, it can be a female as well. But the thing that I do look for is that they grew up in a fatherless home where they consider themselves as fatherless. And they overcame and they became famous. So we like to cover those people. And in episode 110, I would like to reveal the fatherless and famous of this episode as Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z. Now, I think I've heard in Jay-Z's raps that he mentioned that he was abandoned by his father. But doing some digging, I have more information to share about his fatherless journey. So Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, mother name was Gloria, and father name was Adnis, Adnis. I've never heard of that name before. Maybe it's the East Coast thing or a New York thing. And they grew up in Brooklyn, Marcy projects in Brooklyn, New York. But Adnis left Jay-Z and his family without any notice when Jay-Z was around 11 years old. He didn't give any heads up. And he was, struggling with some trauma that had happened to his family, to his sibling. And after, I think it was the death of his brother who was stabbed to death, he kind of, got into drugs and just his life was derailed. So he cut out. When Jay-Z was 11 years old, he left Jay-Z and his three siblings and he just left without saying bye or anything, just disappeared. And Gloria was devastated, obviously, but she did what she had to do to raise her kids by herself in Brooklyn in the projects. Now, if you are familiar with any of Jay-Z's rap songs like I am, because I'm a huge fan, you'll see that Jay-Z fell into selling drugs and fell into the ways of the streets, hanging out, doing the things that young kids do without father figures in the household, and then got into rapping and entertaining and built himself an empire that is worthy of being called an empire. So with Jay-Z being, successful and famous, around 20 years passed by where his father still was kind of like out of the picture and there was no contact until Gloria learned that Adnis was having liver failure and was dying from liver failure. So she wanted things to be patched up between Jay-Z and his father. So she encouraged Jay-Z to extend an invitation to Adnis. Now, the first invitation was kind of declined. He did not show up. He was a no-show. But this, second, eventually, I'm not sure if it was the second invitation or not, but eventually they got Adnis to sit in front of Jay-Z, and Jay-Z and Adnis kind of discussed it and talked about what happened, and Jay-Z let him know how it affected him, which it him leaving the way he did made Jay-Z resentful and guarded and really afraid to attach to anyone. And he spoke about this openly. So after discussions and just, Jay-Z being honest with Adnis, they kind of patched things up to where they were actually able to be in each other's space again. And Jay-Z said he forgave his father for what he did. He kind of understood that it was him going through a hard time through the loss of his brother and through the addiction of drugs, that he was able to forgive him, which he eventually said that was a big move for him to do. It was therapeutic for him to forgive his father for abandoning him and his sibling and his mom. So good for you, Jay-Z, for being able to get past that and be the success that you are. Now, Jay-Z's net worth is, as many of you can probably imagine, is pretty high. He is right now the richest musician alive. And his net worth currently, without Beyonce, because he's married to Beyonce, and that would add even more to his net worth, but him alone, his net worth is $2.5 billion. All right. So he's a multi-billionaire. and he has his hands into a lot of different things like sports teams and clothing and all kinds of stuff. So good for you, Jay-Z. Good for you. If Jay-Z can find success after having to overcome fatherlessness and growing up in a household without a father figure, then you can too. Okay. And using the information that I share on this channel, you will have a template on how to find success and build your own empire. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and go ahead and leave comments if you have comments that you would want to leave regarding the video, or if you want to share your story on how you overcame adversity from being fatherless. You don't have to be famous to be featured on this show, but if you have a story, please share that story and I'll be sure to read all the comments that are posted. Thanks again, and I will see you guys on the next episode.